Gaza, Mr. President. Obviously, you're concerned. You're concerned about the situation in Gaza. What are the hopes now to get the hostages back?
She just became a big story tonight, right? Yes, sir. Did you see that?
Be leaders ourselves.
Black women are being used by the Democrat Party.
All of these socioeconomic indicators are in the negative, particularly for black people.
They want mob rule. When Trump was in office, please somebody tell me what act of dictatorship did he perform?
She had Donald Trump's hair on top of her head. And she's sitting here talking about brown girl this, brown girl that.
Because she's a black woman.
They would ask her how to spell her first name and clap like sea monkeys.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
What's up, everybody? This is our Friday Night Live, and we are Pop and Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-hosts. All right, we have Nicole Bennett and Shelly E. All right, so folks, as we mentioned earlier in the week, we are doing a call-in show tonight. So get your cameras ready. You will be the fourth host with us tonight. We're going to do that in just a little bit. Get your cameras ready. You will be the fourth host with us tonight. Oh, do you guys hear feedback? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Sorry, that might have been me. All right. Yes. So we're like I said, we're going to have bring you guys on tonight. So as long as you have your camera on, you can come on up with us and give and pretty much add on to your opinion on the topics tonight. All right. So again, do me a favor, tap that thumbs up and subscribe so we can amplify our voice here on YouTube. Like I said, we're on YouTube and Rumble. You can listen to us on Apple Podcast or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. We shout out all of our super chats. So it's the best way to get your voice heard in the conversation and to show your love for conservative content. This is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, everybody. Ladies, let's set it off tonight. All right, so you see what happened there? That was President Trump departing the Justice Department this evening after delivering a fiery press conference. And he was walking across the tarmac at Joint Base Andrews to chat with some reporters. And one of them hit him in the chin or sort of in the mouth with the boom mic. Did you see that, Shelly?
I did. I saw it.
Yeah.
I'm not so inclined to think that it was on purpose. I could be wrong. I don't know. I do know that those mics can be long and they have the wands and the extenders. And so it looked like, I don't know who it was, who the photographer was, but whomever it was, looked like he or she was trying to just move it to get to his mouth. So everything is not a conspiracy. I'm not going to go down there tonight, but if it was on purpose, she should have been punched in her face.
Yeah, Nicole, what did you think of that? I'm not sure. I believe it was purposely done, but that definitely was. It was a lack of not thought, but just knowing how to use the boom mic.
Professionalism, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're covering the most powerful man in the world, and you drop a fuzzy boom mic across his face. Someone's going to lose their press pass. Let's just put that out there, because he was definitely perturbed. He was absolutely perturbed. And I don't blame him. I mean, how many times have we seen presidents hit in the face with a microphone?
Never.
Once. We saw it today. One time.
Oh, right.
And guess how many more times we're going to see it ever happen? Zero. It's never going to happen again. So I think it was an unfortunate accident. I think maybe the person was not really paying attention to what was going on. and probably took their eyes off the prize for just a second. And that's all it takes. It's unfortunate, but somebody's going to lose their press pass. They're going to lose.
Yeah. Do we have that clip again? Can you guys play that again? Just for anyone who missed it.
Mr. President, obviously you're concerned. You're concerned about the situation in Gaza. What are the hopes now to get the hostages back?
She just became a big story tonight, right? Yes, sir. Did you see that?
Yeah, what in the world? He was like,
gave her the death glare.
Yeah, looking at his face, I mean, it kind of makes you think, what was he thinking that it was on purpose as well, right?
Right.
But at least what I didn't see, you said zero, Nicole. I didn't see that boom mic back up in the camera at all, in the screen at all.
Exactly.
So I don't know if they put her or him like, okay, you got to step back. I don't know, but
yeah, I think it was, from what I thought, is he was just in shock. He was like, did that really just happen?
Because no one ever smacks the president in the face. I mean,
right.
I'm sure there was a little shock and awe in that, but I'm also fairly certain that whatever network that person was with was like, okay, you're out of here. We're going to, try to smooth this over to the best of our ability. But it's still kind of unconscionable. If this had been a foreign dignitary who got hit in the face with an American microphone, media heads would be ablaze all over the place. But because it was Trump, people are like, oh, well, maybe he deserved to be slapped in the face with a microphone.
Can I respond to William McCauley? I think it is. He asked me if I could throw a drink in Mad Max. I'm guessing Maxine Waters' face. William, I would only do that if she kind of swung on me and I ducked, and I would throw the drink to distract her, and then I would clock her.
and you know what? I actually believe you would do that. I do believe you. You folks, you don't know. Actually, a leftist nut tried to approach Shelly as she was on her daily walk. And it was an elderly woman, and Shelly gave that woman hell. She gave the woman hell.
Notwithstanding, she was out of control, right?
Nicole, a lot of people think erroneously that I just go around bullying, starting people. I don't. I really don't. Most of the time, if I am, I don't know, upset, whatever, I generally will go inward, right? Right. But this woman came to me. I was walking, came to me. My daughter was with me, and she just came to me and assumed that I was an anti-Trumper or I was voting for Kamala. And then I started saying no, and she got a little bit indignant. So I was like, hold up. Let's slow it down, cowpoke. But I wasn't going to back down. I don't give a darn how old she was. She was old enough to think that she could just come to me and kind of, in my face, though, whatever.
That part. Her age notwithstanding, she was behaving poorly.
Yeah, the video was really something. The video was really something. So that's why I said Maxine Waters better stay far away from Shelly E. Okay? All right.
I don't bother people. They can say what they want. I don't bother people. I will walk away. I don't. Right. But don't step to me and don't threaten me as if you're going to do something. That's a whole different mode.
You're right. All right, Kung Fu CJ with the first super chat of the night, $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Says, oh, shucks, it's about to go down. Absolutely, folks. Yes, indeed. And again, I announced at the beginning of tonight's program, we are doing a call-in show tonight, folks. So we're going to drop the link to where you guys can log in with us towards sort of like the middle of the show tonight. We're going to drop the link, and as long as you have your video on, you can join the conversation. All right. And we are going to be talking about the Democrat Party. They have become violent. They have become radicalized beyond compare. And so we're going to get into that a little later in the show. Breaking news out today, of course, we mentioned on the last show, there's no government shutdown. So that's definitely done. The continuing resolution to keep the government funded and avert a government shutdown tonight at midnight passed a key procedural vote in the Senate, and it will now see a final Senate floor vote. All right. So we were talking about that a little bit on Wednesday, but it looks like it's going to go. And Schumer has egg on his face. I mean, he pretty much came out initially and saying, he was going to filibuster it, and now he's supporting it, right, Nicole?
Yes, he's a supporter because he didn't like the words "the Schumer shutdown," which I thought, following Shelley's train of thought, was some very good alliteration. It's not as good as Shelley do with the 3, but 2 was really good. The Schumer shutdown, the Schumer shutdown. And Democrats across the spectrum are fairly angry with him.
Yeah.
They're looking to be these tough people who are fighting, and we're going to stand up to the Republicans. And he laid down like a cheap rug. Down like a cheap rug. His excuse was that he thought Trump would have too much power for Doge to just run amok with the government shutdown, because then there would be no one to blow the whistle on what Doge was doing. Truth be told, Doge is going to do what it's going to do, whether they shut down or open. This is the mission, and they are mission-guided people. It just looks really bad for the Democrats because they still haven't kind of got their footing back from November. And here we sit, mid-March, and they're still searching for voices. Hakeem Jeffries laid into him and was like, I don't want to talk about it publicly. I won't answer any questions publicly. But when someone asked him if he was afraid, he snapped. I mean, he showed off. So
yeah, I wonder if production can get that clip, because I believe they have a video of him snapping. Folks, we're in kind of dangerous territory right now. I've never seen the Democrats, and you ladies correct me if I'm wrong, so panicked. They are not only panicked, but they have a sort of air of chaos, and they're just grasping at whatever they can to stay relevant and to try to get back at President Trump. And it looks like they're desperate right now. Shelley, what do you think on that?
You've seen it before, particularly in 2016 when he came down that gold escalator. You've seen it before. You've seen it before when he won and they invented this whole conspiracy with the Russiagate and the dossier. You have seen it many times. You've seen it when BLM tore up the country, cities across the country. You've seen it many times. So this is nothing new. What they did not expect, and Nicole, here's my alliteration, is Trump trumped them Dems. That's what he did. Trump trumped them Dems. That's what he did, right? He
Love
did.
it.
And they don't know what to do with that. They thought they wanted the government to be shut down, but they wanted to find a way to blame Trump. But again, Trump trumped them Dems, and Schumer fell right into line because you're right. He didn't want that egg on his face, or he didn't want that label following him around. Look, these Democrats they're in chaos. I mean, they're in confusion right now, thanks to all of their manipulations and machinations with the election, with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They don't know how to get out of a paper bag right now.
Yeah, but Nicole, I mean, there's something about this that seems different. And I agree with you, Shelley, with, we saw the BLM riots and the and Antifa and burning all of that down. But, with the way Doge is working, with Trump, with this, getting all the illegals out, they seem like they are desperate and almost a little scared. What do you think, Nicole? Does this seem different or no? Is it just me?
No, it's definitely different. So here's the thing. Politically, when you're on your back foot, politics moves at a really slow pace, especially national politics. The president sets out an agenda. It takes about 3 years for people to process. It moves very slowly. So it gives the team that's lost, the opposition, some time to kind of get their pieces in order, find a new leader, put some money behind that leader, and so that they can regain their footing. The pace that Trump has set, I mean, I don't know if this man is working in dog years or what, but it has not even been a year, and it feels like it's been 6 or 7. As quickly as the culture is changing and rallying behind him, the Democrats don't have a leg to stand on. So they go back to what they know best. They try to, isolate groups of people. That doesn't work anymore. They hit us with the old Negro spirituals, the union songs. They pulled out the old folky white guys playing the guitar. They sent out Aunt Maxie to go harass people. And none of this is sticking. If anything, people are finding it more cringe. So they're having a really hard time. The pace of this new administration, plus they never thought they were going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Never crossed their mind that they were going to lose. They had no backup plan, no plan B.
Yeah, we have a couple super chats here, folks. Thank you all so much. All right, let's see here. We have Tijuana Border Jumper says, I'll put money on Shelly E every time. You go, girl, with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Allie is our Freedom Seekers member. Thank you so much, Allie. All right, and Colin with the $10 super chat says, great show. Keep up the great work. God bless. God bless you too, Colin. And Teresa, hey Teresa, haven't seen you in a while.
Oh, hi Teresa.
Yes, with the $10 super chat says, ladies, I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you do. It saves me from having to watch a constant cavalcade of stupid people. Thank you for being a great buffer. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. That's so sweet.
Thank
That's
you,
very
Teresa.
nice.
Yes, and we have the video that Nicole mentioned of Hakeem Jeffries losing it. Folks, take a look at this. Here he is.
No. Do not characterize.
No, my question was, why are you afraid to say that?
Do not characterize my remarks. I'm not afraid about anything.
But you went to another question twice.
Anything.
Isn't it a yes or no
Is there a
question?
problem?
I said I was very clear that we look forward to working with every single one of our Senate Democratic colleagues. Every single one of them. Push back against the Trump administration. Every single one.
You just said yes to having confidence in this would go away in many ways.
Do you think that this is what the American people care about right now? Or do they want us to do everything that we can to stop this partisan and harmful Republican bill from actually becoming law? Because that's what we as House Democrats are focused on.
You didn't.
Right? No. Do not characterize.
No,
It's the beginning again, yeah.
Yeah, there he is. I mean, he's pretty upset.
Him getting redder and redder and redder, and his head's gonna pop off.
Yeah, Brown Eyes with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. She says the Dems never saw the bill from Trump to say that he was cutting funds from Medicare and Social Security. Fear mongering. Exactly.
Yeah.
Brown Eyes. Yeah. He was pretty upset. These folks, and then you had Maxine Waters earlier in the week, trying to send out little dog whistles of violence. Saying she's afraid that President Trump is going to start a civil war. And she was saying little calls for violence and things like that. Something's coming, folks. Something is coming. I just feel it in my bones. Something's coming. I don't know. So I hope that's not the case. I want to hear you all sound off in the chat. Do you believe that they have something up their sleeves? And I think it's going to be violence. I think it is. But sound off in the chat, folks. Let us know what you think. Also, if you love faith, family, and freedom, hit that like button, share this with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a truth-filled episode from us. All right. So speaking of President Trump giving a smackdown, more breaking news out this evening. The South African ambassador was kicked out of the U.S. So the United States has expelled the South Africa's ambassador, according to the New York Post. After it emerged, he had suggested President Trump was the leader of a white supremacist movement. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced the expulsion of Ibrahim Rasool on Friday this evening, declaring him a persona non grata. Rubio linked to a Breitbart News article covering Rasool's remarks to a South African think tank today, in which he claimed Trump was leading a white supremacist movement against political incumbencies. We have the clip here. This is clip 6. Take a look.
That I think what Donald Trump is launching is an assault on incumbency, those who are in power, by mobilizing a supremacism against the incumbency at home. And I think I've illustrated abroad as well. So in terms of that, the supremacist assault on incumbency, we see it in the domestic politics of the USA, the MAGA movement, the Make America Great Again movement, as a response, not simply to a supremacist instinct, but to very clear data that shows great demographic shifts in the USA, in which the voting electorate in the USA is projected to become 48% white, and that the possibility of a majority of minorities is looming on the horizon. And so that needs to be factored in so that we understand some of the things that we think are instinctive, nativist, racist things. I think that there's data that, for example, would support that would go to this wall being built, the deportation movement, etc., etc. So I think I mentioned that. I think that.
All right. So, Nicole, what did you think of that exchange, that rant?
I'm glad he's gone. Let's just say that. Marco Rubio has, if there has been a week where a Secretary of State has shown off, this is Marco Rubio's week.
Yes.
He is all over the place. People who didn't think he had the chops for this job, he has proven them absolutely wrong. He has stood up for this nation in ways we haven't seen in decades. This man is a hateful, fear-mongering. We talk about that. And he's talking about things of which he has no knowledge. He has no knowledge of any of this, but is willing to say something in a podcast or news format that he knows is going to go around the world. So yeah, he's got to go, and he can take his hate with him. We don't do that here anymore.
Yeah, Shelly, this guy's from South Africa. He's the South Africa ambassador, and we know what's going on there. They're pushing out all of the white Africans. What did you think of what he said?
I was a little confused because, at least from this camera that I saw him on, he looks like he has some white in himself. He just looked like that. So that was one thing. Number two, you're right. I agree. We said the other night, I love Marco Rubio. What did Trump call him initially? Little Marco or something like that.
Yeah.
But I love him in this role. I think he's just growing into it. But in South Africa, aren't they trying to expel the Boers and the Afrikaners, the white farmers? Aren't they trying to do that and make this separatist movement or this apartheid, or I don't know if we want to call it reverse apartheid? But this is just nothing. This is nonsense. And he forgot one thing. He talked about the minority population increasing in the United States. Well, that's great, because guess what? Minorities increase their percentage of the vote for President Trump too. So why should that be a threat, if you will, to President Trump? Many more minorities voted for him this time. So this is just a bunch of much ado about nothing. He's trying to make himself or make an issue and take it global to South Africa, around the world, and it's not going to work.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have some super chatters here, folks. Thank you all so much. Kung Fu CJ with the $5 super chat says Rubio kicking people out and taking security clearances. Yes, he did. I call him now militant midget Rubio Marco. Militant midget Marco. So now I have some alliteration.
Alliteration too for KJ.
That's right.
Yes. All right. Ronette Brown, thank you so much for your $5 super chat. She says, always fear racist tactics. Exactly. From Democrats. Don't turn your back. Dems always come up with something. Keep up the good work. God bless you, ladies. God bless you too on that.
Thank you.
And King Pokey, DPU, all right, master of railroads, WFM. Thank you.
Right?
Yes, he says, hi, Pops in politics, West Virginia, a red state. All right. Yes. And it's a beautiful state as well.
Yeah, it is.
A beautiful state. Not far from us here in Maryland. Right. Yes, indeed. All right. And so we've heard a lot in the news, as you mentioned, Shelley, about South Africa recently, especially since President Trump took office in January. He created a resettlement scheme for white South Africans persecuted by the current regime. This persecution mainly involves land seizures, as you mentioned, but also involves general discrimination, harassment, or violence against these white South Africans. So we'll continue to look at that. But it's sort of weird that he's calling our president racist and xenophobic and all of these things when you got a situation in your country, man.
Not a situation. This is generational for them. They haven't learned the lesson yet. They still haven't learned the lesson, and they're going to continue to make the same mistakes they've made before, whether it's, Black people being separatists or white people being separatists. As a nation, they need to get themselves together. They really do.
Yeah.
Yes, folks, again, please support this movement. Hit the like button, subscribe, and check out our merch, folks. We do have merch where the delay is over. We are no longer backed up. So when you order your merchandise, you will get it in a reasonable time. So you can go to www.popandpoliticslive.com. Every shirt, every hoodie helps keep conservative voices loud and proud. And what I like about our merchandise, our shirts and things, are most of them are not so brass. They're cute, they allow you to make a statement. But it's not something where people charge at you or anything like that. So definitely check it out. All right. Okay, so moving right along. Again, as we were talking about these Democrats in chaos this week, we go to Gavin Newsom. So he did a viral video with Charlie Kirk this week, and he basically was totally different than what he generally is. He was backtracking and changing his position on a number of issues where he has long been on the left. And it looks like he's posturing for a run in 2028. Take a look here. This is Charlie Kirk just basically talking about what happened. This is clip 1.
He does not listen, ever. Maybe, is this the tipping point for him? Did you get the feeling he really wants to change?
I don't know. I think he wants to be president, Sean, more than anything else on the planet. I think you can agree he has more political ambition than almost anybody in the Democrat Party. And I think he understands that the entire country is moving center-right and is accelerating at a rapid pace. In fact, we are course correcting after 4 failed years under Joe Biden and all of the woke stuff and the anti-common sense movement. Gavin Newsom had me on his podcast, and I was shocked all of a sudden where he decided to diverge away from the orthodox opinion in the Democrat Party, which is as simple as saying that it's not fair that a biological man can compete in female sports. Now, number one, I don't believe that he actually has any heartfelt beliefs in this. I think it's purely political transactional. However, everybody in the audience should understand this means that we are winning at such a rapid pace that the governor of the largest state in the country, the largest Democrat state, who obviously wants to be president, has to adjust his policies against the base of the party to even be taken seriously to run for president in 2028.
Okay, but the problem is it's so transparently about political expediency if he's going to change his core beliefs. And here would be the biggest problem that I would see that he has. He has something called a track record. He's been in government. He's the mayor of San Francisco, lieutenant governor for 8 years. At the end of this term, he'll have been governor for 8 years. He has a track record. So I don't think you get to run away from the positions you have been holding for decades just by talking to conservatives like Charlie Kirk. He never invited me on the podcast. I'm offended, by the way.
All right. So I saw a bit of the podcast and it was really weird. I mean, he did change his position on many policies that he has long held. So, Shelley, do you believe that his flip-flop is going to work for him if he's trying to move to the center more?
I think it will work for him at becoming a candidate for the Democratic Party. I do. I think they will, I don't know, they'll find some way to explain it away. He may say, part of me thinks that, like we talked about this last week, I think, part of me thinks that on some of his issues, I think he's felt that way, but he was always not politically able to say it. It wasn't the right political time. Now that President Trump, and of course, again, most leftists think that they're in the middle anyway, but now is the time that he can actually say this for the most of the country and have some agreement amongst it. It's going to be a lot of hell to pay in his party. Mm-hmm. That's where a lot of the conflict is going to come.
Yeah, he got so much pushback this week for these statements that he made. The ladies on The View went berserk about it. Sonny Holston's wig almost came off. She was so upset. Many people were upset about his stance, particularly about transgenders, and saying that it's not fair these men are playing in women's sports. So, Nicole, is this a sign that the country is moving away from the woke politics?
Oh, without question. The country has taken a big step toward the middle. That's what he was talking about, being center right. We've taken a big step toward the middle. And every day that Trump is president and the wins keep coming, we're taking more and more baby steps to the right. The country is course correcting. So I think the Democrats went too far out on a limb. I think they probably would have been a little bit better if they had not swung for the fences so hard with the LGBTQIA stuff and the men and women's sports. And there's still Democrats who are calling for that. There are still states that are saying, no, we're going to keep, letting transgender people participate in the wrong gendered sports. They really haven't learned the lesson. Gavin Newsom, however, I think Shelley is correct. He has held some beliefs that were unpopular with his particular set. What's going to be interesting is when they have that presidential primary, they're going to eat him alive. They're going to roast him over an open flame with some garlic butter. And let me tell you, it's going to be delicious. I'm going to sit back and enjoy every single moment of it because nobody likes a flip-flopper. Ask Kamala.
Yeah. He's going to roast. He's going to roast like a marshmallow at a Girl Scouts retreat. Absolutely. And because like you said, he has such a record of being an extreme, extraordinary leftist. I actually enjoyed when he debated Governor DeSantis. Governor DeSantis ate him up in that debate.
And spit his nose out. He sure did.
Yes, he did. It's probably going to be the same thing. Yeah, I think he's going to be underestimated, however, because he does have this horrible record, but he's a very likable character. So, not so much. We all know that he's a horrible human being and he's a awful leader and things like that. But just the idea of the visual politics that we have now, he's very charismatic, and he is someone that the left loves. Like he's like that Obama-esque charm. He's maybe even more charming than Obama. So I still think he's gonna probably be a player on the Democrat side.
Sure. I think so too. I think he will.
I think it's going to be a boy ticket for them. It'll probably be Newsom and what's the jerk here?
Shapiro?
No, I wish. Well,
Governor Moore, Wes Moore.
Yeah, Wes Moore. It'll be Wes Moore because he's been making a lot of trips to California. Lots and lots of trips to California.
But and I'm gonna throw another one in there. Maybe what do you call it? A far fetch or whatever the word is for chance. I think Jasmine Crockett is going to do something on a national basis.
Oh gosh, that would give us good comedy relief.
I would love it.
Oh my gosh,
we would be wrapped up in my birthday. Yeah, that would.
I think she's making her rounds to do that.
Yeah, my God, this woman, I believe. I actually think she's worse than Kamala Harris. I think she's worse than Kamala Harris. And we have her up here next. Before we get into that, I do want to acknowledge our super chatters here, folks. Thank you all so much. All right, here we have Tijuana Border Jumper with a $5 super chat. Says he's a liar, and it's very transparent to us native Californians. Yeah, we agree. Red Bucks, thank you so much for your super chat. Yeah, we totally agree. But unfortunately, we have a large amount of people that don't follow politics like they should, and they'll vote for just a pretty face, and somebody that's charming and saying the things they want to hear. Unfortunately, so we'll see. We will see. But it could be, like you said, Shelley, it could be Jasmine Crockett. And this would give us so much comic relief. Can you imagine the ticket, Gavin Newsom and Jasmine Crockett? This is
I can't imagine. Look, we have the clip. We got the clip.
Yeah, we do.
What do we think about how the people who voted for him are viewing the moment we're in? I think that there's a lot of regret. I think that the sycophants, there's nothing that you can say about them. Like there is a real cult that is taking place, and they follow their leader and they believe whatever he says, and they're just going to get in line. And then there are those that are like, well, wait a minute. Like, why is it that I don't have health care? But the billionaires are still having like multi-million-dollar weddings? Like, why is it that I'm not going to be able to go to college, or my kid isn't going to be able to go to college, or I'm not going to be able to eat because they're getting, like, wait a minute, what is the point of this? Like, what is happening?
Yeah. What is the point of what she was saying?
What is she talking about?
I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt. I listened to that and I said, what the hell is she talking about? What are the billionaires paying for? First of all, if a person is a billionaire, then he or she can afford a multi-million-dollar wedding. Number one, you don't have to depend on the government to do it. Then what does it have to do with healthcare? And I don't know. She has so many things in this pot that didn't even, I don't even know what to do. It wasn't even a pasta salad. It wasn't spaghetti. It was just a pot of hog shit.
Well, you know what it was? She forgot the talking point, right? So whenever you hear Democrats say billionaire, they're supposed to follow it up with 3 thoughts, what they call thoughts, after billionaire. 1, that they're not like us, right? That's a big thing for them. 2, that they're hurting the small man, right? That some way or another, people who've made billions of dollars are reaching their hand into your pocket. And 3, that they're hurting children. This is their big thing. Oh, nobody wants to hurt a child, but what did they do to DJ, right? Nobody wants to hurt a child, but this young man who's survived cancer, who happens to be Black, because we know that's one of their check boxes, right? Got no love from them. Until the world started ripping them a new one. And then all of a sudden they were like, oh, well, it's kind of political. We really do like the little boy, blah, blah, blah. But this is what happens when you're not prepared. You forget your talking points. And then you have to kind of scramble around and figure out where you are in the woods. And you lean back on things you may have heard yesterday on Rachel Maddow or on The View last week. And it doesn't kind of come together. That's why Whoopi read hers, because she couldn't remember the talking point.
Right. You're right, Nicole. Well, folks, you heard it here first. There may be a ticket that we're seeing blossom between Gruesome Newsom and Crooked Crockett. So this is where you heard it here first. If Jasmine Crockett and Gavin Newsom are the ticket for the Democrat Party, we are going to have a whole season of laughs. And we're calling them Gruesome Newsom and Crooked Crockett.
That's right. And look, you have to make sure you support us so we can stay on the air. And if KJ mentioned that some people don't follow politics, well, guess what? If you are not a politician or you're not into politics like we are, support us anyway, and we will speak on your behalf, right? We will speak. We'll tell the truth. We'll give our opinions, whatever the case may be. Go to our site, poppinpoliticslive.com, and shop. Buy some merchandise, support us so we can get the word out.
Yep, absolutely. And we do see you guys supporting with the super chat. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, Carla Melton with the $10 super chat. Yes, says, after finding you, I am a super fan, sending my first super chat ever. Yay. God bless you. Thank you, Carla.
Thank you, Carla. That is so sweet.
Rico, hey Rico, happy Friday. He says, why don't the Transformers create their own leagues? Because they don't like to compete, really. Most of these Transformers, transvestites, transgenders, whatever you want to call them, they were actually competing as men in their respective sports, and they were losing. And then all of a sudden they put on a dress and some makeup, and now they want to compete with women, and they're dominating. These people are nuts. Yeah. All right. So I want to keep this train going. Again, as we said at the top of the show, we are here to really call out these Democrats and alert you guys. Sound the alarm that something's coming. Something is coming. They are working on something. They are grasping at straws. They are desperate because President Trump is doing well. He's pushing out his policies. They're working, and he's doing it at a fast pace, as Nicole said, and they don't know what to do with him. And here we have Democrat Bill DeBlasio. Remember this nutbag, this nutcase from New York City? He had a recent is in the press on an interview, and here's what he had to say. This is clip 3.
Do you think President Biden was up to the job mentally?
You know, I'm going to be confessional here, Dana. I'm like so many other Democrats wanted to believe, and we were wrong, and we should have been more critical.
Do you think you were lied to?
I don't think I was lied to. I think it was magical thinking. We wanted to believe what we wanted to believe. I think, I'm sure not everyone will agree, I think he did some very good things as president, but it was clear that he was not the same person towards the end of the term.
And yet they were asking all of you to campaign for him, to donate money, and that they said he was perfect for the next 4 years. How much did that set the Democratic Party back?
I think it hurt a lot. I think a lot of people felt betrayed. But I am also saying all of us need to accept some responsibility, because he did, in my view, he governed well on many levels, but he was not ready to continue for 4 more years. We should have just come to grips with that. I think if we had had an open process, if it was not, here's an anointed candidate, we actually had a process, we would have had a stronger candidacy.
Would you have run?
No, not me, but we would have had a stronger candidacy. And I think that was, I mean, look at the numbers. It was a winnable election. And instead of us as Democrats wringing our hands and crying, let's just get back on the horse and ride again, because we have something to say.
Winnable. Right, I hope you fall off the horse. Fall off. That guy was awful.
Oh my gosh.
Right, Nicole?
He's a horrible, horrible person. And I don't say that all the time. But, you know, the thing that really bothers me about him is that he's one of those people who haven't learned a lesson. That election wasn't winnable anywhere. When Trump talked about it today, when you pull up that map of counties across the United States, he won like 2,500 counties, give or take, and she won 500. Where's that winnable?
Mm-hmm.
The T-shirt is all red. Like they have an outline of the United States, and it's almost all red. There's a couple of pox of blue, and it says, "Can you hear us now?" Yeah, it wasn't winnable. It wasn't winnable anywhere. He still hasn't learned a lesson. He made New York City into an absolute toilet bowl. He ought to be ashamed of himself.
Yeah.
And don't be digging him up trying to revive him on the political scene. Have several seats, sir. We don't need you here. We do not need you here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Shelley, what are your thoughts?
What I thought was comical in that interview, he basically said, in other words, Kamala fucked us up. He said, you know, we had an open primary, whatever the word was, instead of an anointed candidate. So he's basically saying, you know, my party, you all made this woman the anointed. You chose her for us. We didn't have a primary. We didn't vote for her. So now you basically, you know, made our chances to win almost zero, just about zero. So Bill DeBlasio, he probably won't be having any positions in the Democratic Party anytime soon either. So
he did not, and he's not going to, and thank God for that. New York is a hot mess. He doesn't have anything to stand on. The only thing that's saving Newsom is that the state is so big, and his reactions to these forest fires that they had, the fires across the state. Him trying to work with President Trump helps him. But de Blasio doesn't have a leg to stand on.
None. Yeah, Robin, thank you so much for your super chat, your $10 super chat. All right, Stephanie says USAID money will be traced back to some of these congressmen and senators. They didn't get rich off of their salaries. Prison in sight. Well, thank you for that $5. I hope so too. I really hope so. Yeah, this is the map here, folks. What was that? 89% of it is red. 89% of counties leaned right. So what is he talking about? These people just throw out these random statements that don't make sense. They're not true, and they just think people aren't going to look this stuff up. It's really pathetic. It really is. And they've gotten so pathetic that not even their queen, Michelle Obama, can do well. Folks, she had a podcast that came out this week. Oh my God. It was like the bowels in the toilet. It was so bad.
They had a whole conversation on hot dogs being a sandwich. I couldn't believe it. I was like, are you serious? These are two attorneys. I think her brother's attorney or whatever profession he's in. She
said he was a coach.
He's a coach, right? I'm sorry. She's an attorney, former first lady. And you have a conversation about whether a hot dog is a sandwich versus a hamburger. This is unreal. Unreal.
That wasn't even a good conversation. There was no heated debate. We didn't discuss, do you like yours burnt or lightly broiled? I mean, like, it was dry.
The hot dog made out better than they did.
Yes, it was. This conversation was so dry. And you would think, having lived through all the political things that she's lived through, because Chicago politics are, honey, between Chicago and Louisiana, there's never a dull moment in politics between those two places. But you would have thought she would have had something spicy to say. And then he would have, kind of guided the conversation with her. But it was boring. It was incredibly boring.
It was so boring. It was boring. It was boring. They weren't much to look at. They weren't. It was almost like you see her, and then you see this thicker, bald duplicate of the first lady. I mean, it was bad. It was so bad. And like you said, but you know what? When I didn't even finish. I just watched maybe the first half of it. But I thought first of all, it was a whole bunch of poor me. They were talking about, she was talking about how poor they were and, having to share a bedroom and a bathroom. And then she talked about the hot dog. This is the Democrat playbook. And they haven't learned the lesson yet. We love winners. We don't want to hear your oppressed victim. We don't want to hear that. You don't have to play that with us. Okay, who hasn't grew up poor? We all grew up poor, but we made something out of ourselves. That's what people want to hear. But they think that this whole victim, I'm like you all, but they're not like us. They not like us kind of mentality is what most people want to hear. And it's not. It is not. Exactly. And the whole thing bombed. It bombed.
It really did. What? You said something. That was a good point. Many of us grew up poor, no silver spoons. But interestingly enough, we typically will look back at those at our upbringings. We kind of laugh at it. We kind of like, we were so poor, we had to do X, Y, Z. We don't use it as a victim card.
Right.
That is a key difference.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't. We don't use it as a victim card. It's something that we think about. It humbles us. And then you spend maybe a couple minutes on that, and then you talk about all that you've overcome. Look at us now. Look at us now. But you know what it reminds me of is, and I don't know if you guys if you have friends that have been in jail. So if you have if you've been around a group of people that have been in jail, one thing they talk about prison, I mean hard time, 10 years. So they talk about it like college. And so they'll start saying, "Oh yeah, what cell block were you on? You did what? No, I don't believe you." And they start arguing about that and then how bad the conditions were and all that kind of stuff. That's what it kind of reminded me of with them. It's just like, what do you want to hear this? You are the first lady. You are a graduate from law school. Talk about all that. We don't want to hear about you. And then the way they talked, there was no emotion. She was just the whole time.
Exactly.
No personality.
The view of a camera was side view. I don't know why they did that. There was no point to it. I don't like side views like that. Even when people get on camera, that's just a whole. I digress. But when people are on camera and then you see them from the side, but they looking here, that just burns me up. Oh my God, it drives me crazy. But it was no point to the conversation. You're right. It's like, okay, we were poor. Okay, but I'm looking like, what's the point to this? I mean, it was just like a sob story, a glorified sob story. That's what it sounded like.
Yeah. And you were poor 40 years ago. Let it go. You're a multi-millionaire who has mansions all over this country, one of the most famous people on the face of the planet. This should not be your conversation. Hot dogs, unless they've been wrapped in gold and dipped in truffle butter, should not be a part of it. I mean, this is your first episode. Hit the ground running. Right. Do something fantastic. But to each their own. I think you thought just her name alone would carry that day. And it just simply didn't.
Yeah, it doesn't. It really didn't. I I know this is kind of off topic, but news out that her marriage is not doing well. And I'm nervous she may have a red table thing like Will Smith and Jada, where the podcast is doing so poorly that they bring Obama out and they emasculate him like I don't know what. That's probably what's coming next. It's the only thing that would get that out of the bowels of the toilet is to have Obama come on and she totally emasculates him like Jada did Will, where he leaves crying. Okay, this is what's coming. But there are
There
have been lots of rumors about them breaking up for a very long time.
I'm gonna say that rumors
and that he's having an affair with
Jennifer Aniston. That's a rumor.
It's been a rumor for more than 2 years now.
Yeah, so. And they're coming out. I mean, very credible now. They're credible.
No, I'm saying that's alleged. I don't know. I'm just saying.
It is alleged. It is alleged. Yes, it is alleged. But folks, do you believe it? Well, first of all, it's random. Jennifer Aniston. But they said that they've been hanging out very tight, closely in California. He's been in LA. He's been in California for quite some time now. And, they're a thing. But I was like, wow. Wasn't expecting that.
Let me say, if that is true, I don't really care if it is or is not. But if it's true, that would be a serious blow to Michelle O.
Right.
A white woman.
I thought you were going to say because he actually likes women. All these years he's with a man.
Well, that too. But that might be a good blowjob. But I mean, I'm saying it would be a blow to her because this is a white woman. I mean, and we know how racist I guess she is. So I think that would be that too. So
yeah. Well, I hope that whatever happens between them is amicable. I hate to see couples bust up and it's really ugly. Yeah. And I just really want. There are some very popular Democrat podcasts, like Pod Save. Those guys have been on a dime for a very long time. Somebody go help her. Zhuzh her up a little bit. And it may just be that she doesn't really bring a lot of excitement, generally speaking. Maybe she's just one of those kind of understated people. But that doesn't really work for a podcast. It just really doesn't. So.
Yeah, you're right, Nicole. You're right. Well, we'll see. Look again, maybe it's going to be a slower crawl, where she'll come out, doing well in a couple of weeks.
She might do something else.
Yeah.
She says, okay, I tried it. It didn't really work for me. Let me move on. So.
Right. All right, folks. So moving right along, folks, thank you all so much. We have a couple super chatters here. Thank you all. We certainly appreciate you. All right, B. Chapman with the $5 super chat says the someone is drowning. They will club on to anything they think will save them. That is the current state of the Democrat Party. You are spot on, B. Chapman. Chadwick with the $10 super chat says, I honestly believe her and Barack are on their way to divorce. Why wouldn't she just do the podcast with him instead of her brother? People would actually watch that. Yeah, I think they would too. I think they would too, Chadwick.
I think people will watch it. I think people will watch it, but I also think from Michelle's perspective, again, I think she's trying to separate herself, not so much for a divorce. I mean, that may be true, but separate herself in her own right as a woman, as a Black woman, that, yes, she gets the fame because she was married to a former first president, the first Black one, no less. So I think this is just her just wanting to be her, quote unquote, her independent self.
No, spread
she need to get with them. She need to. They married. They become one. She need to bring them on. We have Paul Carrick with the $20 super chat. Says it's a breath of fresh air to hear women in blue Maryland. I'm in Temple Hills. Oh, hey, Paul. Okay, and I'm alone out here. Oh, Paul. Thank you so much for reaching out. You gotta connect with the BCF, right? The Black Conservative Federation is a great organization, and then also the Maryland Black Republican Council. Again, great organization right down there where you are. So definitely reach out to us on email or something. We can connect you to some different conservative organizations here. All right. And Teresa with the $10 super chat says, why is it that they scream about cuts in specific areas, but this bill is only 62 pages long and the numbers are there? Why don't they back up their argument with the numbers? We agree. That was Shelley's, what Shelley was saying on Wednesday, say Teresa. Wendy, thank you so much, says they gave a preview of their plan at the Trump Tower overtaking. Everyone dressed the same. Exactly. Thank you so much, Wendy. Kung Fu CJ, as usual, Shelley drops a bomb. He does, Kung Fu CJ. Thank you all so much. We certainly appreciate you all. And so now we are starting our portion of the call-in session. So we want to bring you guys up here just to get some what's on your mind. What are you, what are you thinking about as far as this political climate? As far as the Democrats are concerned, do you believe that they're up to something? And so on and so forth. So I think we have someone here. Let's see here. All right. Hello. How are you?
Hey, ladies.
Hey, how are you? Your name and tell us what's your name here?
Jessica.
Jessica. All right.
Thank you. Where are you from, Jessica?
I'm from the red state of South Carolina, thanks to my late great Senator Strom Thurmond.
All right. Absolutely. So thank you so much for joining us. So I want to ask you, do you believe the Democrats are more focused on virtue signaling than real results?
I believe so. I think they're just worrying about grandstanding. I think they just want to show off more than they're worried about policy and the American people. I mean, it's amazing to me. I'm a disabled vet and I'm seeing this every day on TV.
Okay.
And I'm like just amazed at how they act like they're just so for the American people, but then they turn around and make stupid videos, dancing in the Congress hallway, like Jasmine Crockett and her two little aides behind her. I'm like, that just doesn't even make any sense. I'm like, all you're doing is showing that you're a 2-year-old.
You're right. You're right. And what do you think is the most dangerous policy being pushed by the Democrat Party right now?
I'm thinking, like, right now, they're mainly pushing to keep, all of these illegal immigrants in. That's what I'm thinking. Is they're wanting to keep the protest going. In my view, in my opinion.
Right. Wow.
Because they're fighting more to keep them in than to get them out. And in my opinion, the way I'm looking at this is, I'm sure Nicole will kind of agree with me because she sounds to me like she's more like a history buff like I am. That like back in the Middle Ages, I compare the illegal immigration to like the Black Plague. Illegal immigrants are the Black Plague, and they're going to end up taking out all of us American citizens. See, they're going to wipe. To me, I believe that they're going to end up wiping us out, and that's their whole goal.
Wow.
And before we know it, we're going to end up being gone. Our nation and American civilization is going to be gone.
Well, that's why it's important to cling to our culture. It is very important to cling to American culture in the face of this onslaught of illegal migration. And it's happening all over the world. You're right. I'm a big history buff. And we've never seen this level of migration across the globe of cultures that just won't assimilate. They just will not. They have no desire to kind of take
Well, thank you, Jessica, for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Love you, girls.
All right.
You tune in again. Thanks.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Jessica. Yeah, she's right. I'm right there with her on the illegal immigration as one of the most, that's what the Democrat Party that's one of the most dangerous policies they were pushing is this illegal immigration. I'm right there with her on that.
Absolutely.
Yes. So I wanted to, we have someone else coming up here, I believe. Before we do, thank you guys so much. Again, we have a call-in show tonight. So tonight we are letting you guys, as long as you have your video on, we want you guys to call in. We've put the link in the chat and sound off on what you think is the most dangerous policy being pushed by the Democrat Party. Do you think they are becoming more radicalized? And what's next? What do you think is next for them?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let me see here. We and again, you must have your camera on in order to join the conversation.
Yes. Hold on, before you do that, while you're bringing it up, we do have a super chatter.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Who's that? Trey's
yes.
Trey.
Yes, as Nicole looking good with the blue and pearls. Yes.
We told her the same thing, Trey's.
Right.
You know what, Trey? Here's the thing. I never wear blue. Like, it's just not my color, right? So as soon as I logged on, KJ was like, well, you look super nice in your blue. I was like, well, wait a minute. I might have to buy more blue clothes.
You have to. You look beautiful.
So much. Thank you.
We told her the same thing. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we have somebody else joining the conversation. All right.
Hello.
Let's see who we have. Hello.
Hi.
How are you? Can you state your name and where you're calling from?
Oh, my name is Michelle. I'm calling from San Jose, California.
Oh,
How you doing?
Right.
Yeah, Penny, 6'9". Thank you for having me. I had to chime in real quick because that Canada guy, that prime minister, kind of got to me when he said he's gonna cut off the lights, and it's like then you hear on the backside, it's like he flipped the script, and then another thing that I seen was on these, I don't know what kind of board member, but it's out of Delaware, the small, and then it's a guy, but it's a female, it's a transfer, and then so the chair addressed him as the name, Mr. the last name, and the guy sitting next to him just went off, but the man was gonna talk and had no problem. So I feel those are threats. I just wanted to point those two. I could think of another one, but you asked certain things to talk about. So yeah, that's why I wanted to call in. And I love the border situation, how and the tariffs. We don't take that lightly. Ukraine guy came over here talking about, and he talked, with his Russian and go this. We're tired of giving out the money. We need that money back. So I'm liking who I voted for.
Absolutely.
And I love y'all ladies. Thank you for giving me a platform to speak.
Look, make sure you hold it down in California. Keep your state sane.
Yeah.
Yes. California needs you. California needs you, Michelle.
Yes, they do. Yes, indeed. We're right. We're little California here in Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Every day we get more and more like California here in Maryland.
The other left coast.
Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look at the ladies holding it down tonight. The ladies. Yeah, well, guys want to come up with us and talk, even if you disagree. Hey, folks, we are equal opportunity, and we love to debate. And if you have something you disagree with, if you are, on the left maybe, or in the center left, and you want to talk about something maybe that we've said you disagree, certainly join the stream. We have the link there. We love to chat. All right. So while we wait for more people to come on to join, let's talk about the Maha movement. Speaking of the left or the center left, because of course, RFK Jr. was a Democrat. RFK Jr., now Secretary of Health and Human Services, has called for the removal of fluoride from public water. Mm-hmm. So this has kind of gotten mixed reviews. Actually, we do have someone else joining us as right now. Do we bring them up? All right. Hello. How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Hi.
Please state your name and where you're calling from.
From Kansas City. My name is Mike, and I appreciate everything that you guys have done. It's been a very eye-opening experience watching you all do this day to day. It's fantastic. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.
Hey, Mike. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you.
Thank you so much. And so what do you think is the most dangerous policy being pushed by the Democrat Party?
I just don't understand the whole this 90-10 issue with the men and women sports, etc. It is absolutely mind-blowing the amount of publicity, I guess, that they put around that to try to get it to all come together. And it's so not the direction that the country wants to go. So when is it that they get it? Like, get it? When do they get it? Like, it's not going, you know? I don't understand that. That seems to be like the focus of, I guess, far left. And I can't figure out for the life of me as to why it's continuing to happen, truly.
They're going to get it right after the midterm elections when they don't retain any of their seats. They'll figure it out then. I don't think Trump shellacking them in November was enough, but I think losing in the midterms is going to be the bellwether for the Democrat Party in the United States.
I completely agree, and keep our fingers crossed.
I think, Mike, two things to your point. Number one, the left, the progressive left or the extreme left has largely taken over the Democratic Party. It's not the party that at least I grew up knowing or being aware of. That's number one. And number two, all of this, these cutting of the funds, many of these funds, in my never to be humble opinion, funds a lot of these politicians in these organizations. So they're cutting the funds and now they are screaming holy hell. But notice, they're not talking about the waste and fraud that's being found. They're only trying to, again, direct it to Trump and Elon as if they're coming through, you know, with some kind of hammer and just cutting up everything.
Yeah, you know, and I agreed. I actually thought that too until I saw President Trump address Congress, and then zero support from that side on simple things like the boy in the stands who was awarded the
DJ.
I mean, just how do they not recognize that in any way? So all of a sudden I'm thinking, okay, well, if this is such a 80-20, 90-10 issue of different things that the mandate that people have mandated President Trump to go after and why he won the election, there's zero support on that other side. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I don't get it. I don't get it for the life of me.
Mike, I think I might be one of the ones that are kind of different on this. I think they're going to double down on this until the end. They truly believe in this. This is one of the core things that it's the foundation really of everything within the left right now. The trans movement, the whole idea of sexualizing children, you know, they believe in this. It's their church, as Shelley has said multiple times. It's the cult of the Democrat Party. This isn't going away, at least on their side.
And as much as they think we're crazy, we think they're crazy. And then, to your point, they believe it so wholeheartedly, and we the same. So it's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Really appreciate everything.
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right, folks. Great. It's great talking with everyone. It's nice to put faces with the chat. How are you tonight, Dr. Jeffries?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Happy Friday. Can you state your name and where you're calling from? Or
I am from the great state of Georgia.
Oh, okay. And what's your name?
James.
James. Okay. Nice to meet you, James. And so let's get into it. What do you think is the most dangerous policy being pushed by the Democrat Party?
Well, all of their policies are dangerous. You can't just pick one. They're all bad, and they're crazy. They're lunatics.
Yeah.
What bothers me the most is I'm retired law enforcement. You know, they went after Trump with trumped up charges. They made stuff up just out of thin air. These are crimes. There's 18 USC. I think it's 238 or something like that. Anyway, it's a law that says taking away someone's civil rights under the color of law is a crime punishable up to and including death, the death penalty. And they did this. They need to be held accountable. People need to go to jail. I get that they're firing people. But firing is nothing. These people have a job in a week. In a week, they'll miss nothing. They need, until people start sitting in a prison cell, then we're not offering any deterrence to anybody in the future who serving in politics saying, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to take a chance on ruining my life and spending the rest of my life in jail because you crooks want to perform some action here.
Agreed.
Yeah, I certainly agree there. You are spot on with that, Mike. You are, James. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you are spot on with that. And do you have anyone in mind? Who would you think, or many, I'm sure, but who do you think really needs to be one of the first ones in a jumpsuit?
The prosecutor out of New York, actually.
Letitia James.
There's no logical way you can stretch those charges out of any reasonable fashion.
Mm-hmm.
They're totally made up.
Yep.
They prosecute him and convicted him on that, meaning they convinced a jury, but it was a jury of staunch leftist Democrats. So,
exactly.
And quite frankly, in my opinion, which doesn't mean anything, but
it does here.
Even the jurors need to be held accountable.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
You knew you were doing wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You knew when you got on that jury you were going to do wrong, and they need to be held accountable.
Right. Yeah. Well, we have a super chatter here. I want to acknowledge this super chatter. Says Kenzie14 with the $5 super chat says James is absolutely correct. We need to see bracelets on wrists. Yes, indeed.
Yes, Amen. Well, thank you for your service, James.
Yes,
thank you very much. You're welcome. I've been retired a long time.
Okay, all right. Well, we gotta have you back on again. Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye, James.
All right. Yes, indeed. That was spot on. That is something that needs to be done. These people, he brought up a very good point. And you guys know I go off on this with Fauci. He's number one, needs to be in jail, in my opinion, Dr. Fauci. But that is the only way these people are going to learn a lesson that they can't do this, is if they are in jail. And I pray to God that within the next 4 years, somehow, some way, somebody goes to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree. I think Kash Patel and Pam Bondi should put their heads together, come up with a short list just to show the rest of the rats that they're not playing around.
Right.
At some point, somebody has to be held accountable, because if not, then the next cycle of elections will have another fake Steele dossier screaming Russia, 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 and have to relive through all of this. We got to do better.
All right. We have another person here, and we have a super chat too.
Where's your camera?
All right. Brown Eyes with the $5 super chat says it's rumored that Pritzker and Rahm Emanuel are running for president. They are close friends. They are up to something. Yeah, I heard about that too, particularly Rahm Emanuel. So yeah, we'll see.
And right. Just for the Pritzker family, very, very much involved in this transing children movement and the funding. The Pritzker family from Illinois.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow. Okay. All right, Kung Fu CJ, what's up? How are you tonight?
I'm all right.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Man, this is the
Where you calling from?
Last caller said the good state of Georgia. I am in Georgia.
Okay.
Cool.
However, he's probably in the same area I am, which is the Savannah area.
Got it.
Oh, nice.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Yes, it's so nice to put a face to your chat, and thank you so much for all of your support on the channel. We always love to see your name come across there. Yes, indeed. So what do you think is the most dangerous policy being pushed by the Democrat Party today?
They don't have a policy.
Oh, yeah.
They really don't have a policy. The only thing now is resistance. Everything is whatever Trump, JD, or the Republicans are putting forward, we're just going to resist. And that is that is their policy right now. We're just going to be the opposition party, and they can't see the forest for the trees because they're losing supporters.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Right. You're right. You're right. And
right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think that's the biggest issue for them, the biggest frustration, I should say, is before many people were falling for that, just the dancing and the celebrity and things like that. But now people are like, what else? They have nothing else. The emperor has no clothes. And so this is the desperation, and this desperation leads to danger, in my opinion.
That's
no
right.
telling what they're going to do.
That's right.
Yep. Well,
Yes,
keep
it
it on. Keep it down there in Georgia. Keep everything safe.
You probably got a lot of supporters here in Georgia.
Thank
you. It's a conservative state.
Right.
And so I started sharing and posting you all's videos. In fact, every time you're on live and I can catch you, I post it to my Facebook page.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
So if you can catch us, you keep up with us all the time. You're always here. We thank you for it.
Yes, we do. It doesn't feel right if you're not here.
Actually, sometimes I do miss the shows. Even though I'm 54, I'm still playing full contact football, so I got to be a sometimes. Yeah, well, that's the military in me. I gotta say.
Well, thank you for your service.
You too. Thank you.
All right,
Thank
right,
you.
folks.
How cool was that? That was so cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. So, folks, this is Friday Night Live here at Poppin' Politics, and we have opened up this line. So if you have your video on and you want to join the stream, we'll do this for a couple more minutes before we leave. But it's really nice just talking to you, getting hearing your voices, seeing your faces, and hearing what you think. You put your thoughts and perspective into the conversation. So certainly enjoy that. I want to play a quick clip here because we want to get into this RFKJ and how he has just called for the removal of fluoride from the public water. We have a clip here, clip 4.
Fluoride in the water. You're going to have higher IQ children. You're going to have less bone cancer, less.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
So here's something else that you can do.
All right. So we're going to get into this. Before we do, want to acknowledge our super chatters, folks. Thank you all so much. All right. Let's see here. We have Susan says, thank you, ladies, for having my husband, James, on. I'm definitely with you. Fauci for prison. Thanks, Susan. $5 super chat. It's our pleasure.
He was wonderful.
Yes, he was. All right. I thought we had another one, but maybe not there. Okay. So sound off, ladies. What do you think of that? Do you think the fluoride needs to be removed from the water system? I'll start with you, Shelley.
I think if there is enough evidence to say that it now has diminishing returns. We still have fluoride in toothpaste. And again, when it was, discovered, when it was implemented, there was a need for it. But like many things, if not everything, particularly in our government, that bell curve and that Laffer curve starts to play, and there becomes a point of diminishing returns. So we still have fluoride in toothpaste. Fluoride still has some benefits, but when we overuse something, or we abuse it in a way, we don't. The risks outweigh the benefits. So we still have to find that balance. I'm not for getting rid of fluoride everywhere, but we might have too much of it in our water, and we may not need it. Toothpaste may be sufficient.
Yeah, agreed.
What do you think, Nicole? Should it be removed from the public water sources?
Yes, absolutely. So, the fluoride in our toothpaste now is much more concentrated than it was back in the 50s and the 60s when we needed to supplement it. Things changed. The population has changed. And, oh, by the way, when was the last time you saw somebody drinking tap water? I'm awake, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Everybody's walking around with a bottle of water, a fancy something that's come through some mountain stream and landed in some plastic so you could tote it around with you. You know, the culture has changed, and some of our products have not kept up with the culture. And I think that's probably the most important thing that he said in that clip, is that once you're approved, it's not like a limited time approval. You're approved forever and ever. And at some point, we've got to make better decisions about the products that we roll out to the American public. Like, you take a look at our cereal. We've got the worst cereal on the planet. Yeah. And it's just because once upon a time it was good. Mm-hmm. It's no longer good. And someone needs to be taking a fine-tooth comb through some of these things. And I think he's just the guy to do the job.
Yeah, absolutely. And he has been sounding the alarm on these things for a very long time. Folks, it's not just, this isn't new. Many countries have already banned or rejected water fluoridation. Most of Western Europe, Germany, Sweden, the Netherlands, Austria, Belgium, they do not put fluoride in the public water system. Some local governments, Canada and Australia, also have removed this. It is seen as a toxin. And so the fact that we still have this in our water system, and like you mentioned, Nicole, many people who can afford the bottled waters, you know, I mean, it's definitely cheaper than it used to be, but some people still drink tap. And the ones who are drinking the tap mostly are in lower income communities where they still drink it right out of the tap water. And what do we see in these areas? Because again, some of the effects of the fluoride in water, they're saying it causes foggy brain. You know, children are having issues with concentration and things like that. What do we see? We see all of this in the public schools and in low income areas. So I don't know if there's a correlation there, but we do know that there are several studies that show it is a toxin. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll see. We do have a super chatter here. Thank you all so much. All right, let's see here. Do we still? Oh, Chadwick with the $5 super chat says, Nicole, my wife drinks over 50 ounces of tap water a day. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, I primarily drink tap water. Now, I do. Everybody knows I like Wegmans. I like their sparkling water because I like the fizz. I don't drink it because I don't drink it because it's non-tap. I just like fizz, and it's no calories, zero calories, no aspartame or anything. But again, like everything, hell, Tylenol can be a toxin if you take too much. Exactly. Aspirin can be a toxin. Any chemical can become a toxin, or if it already is not one. Again, there has to be a balance, if you will. Maybe the water supply has too much, or maybe we don't need it in the water at all. Again, there's a happy medium, and I think in many cases we've gone over to the side of diminishing returns.
Well, yeah, I'll just say, Chadwick, your wife is a goddess. She can drink as much tap water as she'd like to have anyway, sir. So put that on the record, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna say. I mean, if she's drinking it and she's doing well with it,
amazing.
But it is known to be a neurotoxin. 2019 study published in JAMA Pediatrics, especially for children, found that higher prenatal fluoride exposure was associated with lower IQ scores in children. 2022 meta-analysis by the National Toxicology Program, same, linked to fluoride exposure, especially during pregnancy and early childhood. Harvard meta-analysis, 2012, 27 studies found that the fluoride reduced the IQ in children. I mean, the list goes on. Bone and skeletal effects have caused issues with the ingestion of fluoride. The list goes on. And the crazy thing about this stuff is, had this come out, had someone mentioned this to me 20 years ago, 10 years ago, I would have been like, whatever. But after this COVID scam, after this all this stuff they put us through with the jab, and now we're seeing study after study come out about all this stuff, I'm questioning everything now. I'm questioning everything. And the people who were on the forefront about this, one of the major ones was RFK, talking about this jab. And now we see that a lot of the things that he was sounding the alarm about in the beginning have come to true. So I don't know. I think it's good to question it, and I think at least give us a choice.
I agree. We should question questions.
You should question it. We review it, revisit it again. Anything can become a toxin if you at certain levels, right? So that's basically it. And again, at some point, it becomes an overuse, a misuse, a diminishing return. We all know. I mean, one glass of wine is generally not going to hurt you, but if you tend to drink however much more, it becomes toxic to your system. I'm just saying, where's the happy medium? If it's too much in the water, then it's too much in the water. Then let's take it out. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
You're right. You're right. We have a super chatter here. Kung Fu CJ says, "Thanks, ladies, for having me on." Absolutely. Yes, it was a pleasure. Marissa Max with the $10 super chat says most of their policies are dangerous because they cause death, illegals murdering citizens, children being mutilated, babies being torn apart in the name of women's rights and weak on crimes. Yes,
the nail on the head.
The Democrats, right? Yeah.
Spot on.
Absolutely. Well, folks, that does it for us tonight with our Friday Night Live. We will be back on Monday night at 9 p.m. So please, if you haven't done so already, hit that like button and hit the notification bell. That way you know when we go live. Again, thank you so much, folks, for your super chats. Don't forget, you can check out our merch. You can go to popandpolitics.live.com and hit the shop button, and we have all kinds of t-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, plenty of things on there for you to take advantage of, and it helps to push our conservative content. So we do appreciate the support. Yep, there you have it, all the shirts, and we have long sleeves, short sleeves, mugs, and things like that. So that does it. Any final words, ladies?
Absolutely. Listen, tomorrow night, check out Just the Guys.
Right.
Do yourself a favor and watch these men. They have such interesting conversations they'll start with one topic and it kind of builds into something completely different. But if you've ever really wanted to know what it sounds like in a barbershop, when you have really intelligent men with a hot topic, they go through it. It is worth the watch. So everybody tune in, watch Just the Guys. You will fall in love with it just like I have. Absolutely love that show.
Yep, absolutely. And folks, that was a good point, Nicole. We have several shows here on the Metro Conservative Media platform. We have Just the Guys. That's tomorrow night, Just the Guys at 6:30. You guys do not want to miss it. They have an awesome show in store for you. Okay, we have that. Sunday night is my KJ Christian Conservative. Check me out there. Talking about politics, news, culture from a Christian conservative perspective. And then Tuesdays, we have the All American Talk Show, 6:30 p.m. right there on All American Talk. That's here on YouTube as well. These are all of the shows here. Check us out. There's something for everybody. Yeah. All right. And Shelly, final words to take us out tonight.
Oh gosh, wow. I'm just gonna say thank you for everybody who joined us tonight. The people who got on camera, we love you here. We like you. Thank you for your support as always. I'm just gonna say have a great weekend. Be safe, be strapped, and we'll see you on Monday.
Bye.
Good night.